So I'm joined by Ruvimbo Chakoreka, who's a sports analyst here at our Sports Club, and we are seeing the Davis Cup, the first day of the Davis Cup. Chakoreka, a very good day today, and as we are seeing about 4 nations coming to participate in this Davis Cup Group 3.
Yeah, definitely a very important day for us as a nation, as Zimbabwe, albeit it's a holiday as well. But nonetheless, it's very important because it's the first time that as a Davis Cup tournament, we've actually hosted 4 nations here. But also, from a negative point of view, the only reason why we're hosting the 4 nations is as a result of how we have gone down the pecking order in terms of the Davis Cup competition. We are in Africa Group 3. And being in Africa Group 3, it means you've gone down the 3 Euro-Africa zones. You've gone down 2 Africa groups as well. And now down to Group 3. And I know that was as a result of losing to Morocco when we lost to Morocco last year, right here on home turf again. But nonetheless, it's a good festive atmosphere. We're seeing fans actually coming in and watching the tennis with Namibia, Algeria, Nigeria, Senegal, as well as Zimbabwe, the hosts here.
Now, somebody has just been whispering in my ears when the game was happening that Senegal, the team that has just beaten our players, is the weakest of the teams that have come to participate here. What's your take on what we've seen so far on this first day?
Well, look, I'll use a line that I learned more recently from someone saying that no one exercises the divine right to win without actually putting in the effort to win. And I think ultimately what nations have done over the years is, whilst we were stuck in nostalgia, which was the Black Brothers, the Kevin Elliott's, the Genius Chidzikwes, and so on, other nations went on to improving their tennis structures. And here's what we have now. Losing to Senegal definitely is a massive disappointment, but it's also commendation to them. They've improved their tennis, and who knows, they might have come in as the weakest but might actually end up being one of the strongest, because they've actually got 2 really good players who we got to see in the singles matches.
Now, somebody was saying that we Zimbabweans love to live in the glory of the past, where we, like he's just been saying, that you have the Black Brothers and people that did well in the past, but not doing much as of now or for the future. What do you think needs to be done, especially in tennis?
Oh yes, well, the most important thing is, what is the plan after the Locke brothers retire? Benjamin and Courtney Locke have given their all for the country. They've played as much as they can. They've played to the level that they can. But what is the next developmental level? I think from a grassroots perspective, a lot more is being done for the girl child than is being done for the boy child.
Are you sure about that?
100%, because you've got the likes of Rufaro Magarira, you've got Sasha Chimedza, you've got Tadiwana Shemauchi, you've got quite a lot of these players. Kudzaishe Chapepa, who's been doing well on the ITF circuit as well. All of these are girls that I've mentioned, and they've been doing well. They've now gone on scholarships, and they're developing their playing career. But what is being done for the boys' side? I think we've only got Rufaro Tom on the boys' side, who is maybe a rung lower than Mehluli Sibanda. These are just some of the few players that we have. We need to be able to spread the game more. We need to go back to the grassroots again. I think some of the infrastructure that was put in place in Mfakosi, there were tennis courts that were put in place. I'm not so sure if those are still in existence. Chitungiza, the tennis courts are there. They need to be upgraded and spruced up. Stoddard Complex has got tennis courts as well that are available. We need to spread the game as much as possible. Once we have got a wider base, that means getting to the top becomes harder and becomes more competitive from a local perspective. Then we now have to move into high performance centers that Tennis Zimbabwe itself has to somehow, some way find the funding or appeal to its mother body, International Tennis Federation, to find the funding to put in some high performance centers. Because yes, sending our players on scholarships may be quite nice, but developing your own players in your own conditions is also very good as well.
You have touched on a very important thing, going back to the grassroots. But looking at tennis, it's a sport that is very resource intensive. It needs a lot of resources for a child in Unity D there, Papa Zebra, Papa tennis courts, to be able to play it. What do you think needs to be done to make sure that that happens?
Well, first and foremost, garnering resources is always going to be difficult, but I think Tennis Zimbabwe has got one or two partners that would be keen in terms of helping develop that story. The first thing is, let's get rackets at the grassroots level. Let's get tennis balls at the grassroots level, and then ultimately we can start developing from there. They've already got coaches whom they develop on a year-to-year basis. Let's start putting them into those grassroots areas and begin to develop the tennis players. Whether it be on a Tennis Zimbabwe salary, maybe that's a model that they can follow from Zimbabwe Cricket, from Zimbabwe Rugby, who have put in coaches into various development zones in order to grow the players. So those are some of the things that they can do, and we understand that there's money needed and all, but ultimately a plan is what causes money to follow it.
Now we have seen, coming back to this day, Davis Cup Group 3, we have seen that Zimbabwe has not done very well in the singles. Now they're going for the doubles, I think in just 20 minutes. What is going to happen now if we also don't do well here? What will happen?
Well, ultimately, there isn't much we can do for the Senegal tie. That one has been put to bed by losing our two singles matches. All we can do is play this dead rubber and play more for pride. Coming out of this one, at least if we come out with a 2-1 loss, that means we've got a better draw against whoever else is going to be coming through. We know Nigeria is not playing today, but Algeria and Namibia are playing. We will also need to hear results from there, and ultimately we play whoever is next. The key is not to come out of this bottom of the group. If we come bottom of this entire tournament, it means we then move a rung lower, which would be going to Africa Group 4.
Africa Group 4. That's not good at all. But Ruvi, we have seen a proliferation of academies in the sport of rugby, soccer. The same is happening there. I was talking to the president of Zimbabwe Volleyball Association president, and he was talking also that there are also academies, volleyball academies. Do we have also tennis academies out there?
Yes, tennis academies are very much there. They are there, but the unfortunate problem is we're talking about the expense. These academies are not easily accessible to those that we're talking about, the masses. So that means the Tennis Zimbabwe has to put in its own.
Hang on.
Yeah.
Let me just do a call. Wakomana ve tennis, vanozisa tennis academy. Dzikisai yakomana. Dzikisai ngazvidzike. You guys who are running academies, please just adjust your prices so that the masses of the people, all the people from Fakose, from Mvurwi, they can be able to also to access the services that you give.
Oh yes, 100%. So if the tennis academies also maybe access to starting tennis academies in those grassroots areas must also be something that Tennis Zimbabwe must incentivize and give, so that many of these tennis coaches are able to do that. A lot of the coaches are doing private coaching, which is individuals coming in, so not necessarily an academy setup which will have multiple coaches actually coaching as many kids as possible. So that needs to be something that they need to think about. I have heard some rumors that the current acting general manager, Linson Chitio, is working on a grassroots tennis program which they are looking to spread across the country, and hopefully that takes off as soon as possible. But as you can see, we'll only reap the results and the fruit of those efforts in years to come. In the immediate right now, we need high performance centers so that we work on the players that are the current crop right now to get them a level higher.
We just hope that the rumor that he has had, Mr. Chitio, is true, that you take tennis to the grassroots level so that everyone is able to play this game of tennis. Your parting shots, Ruvi, regarding the state of tennis in Zimbabwe?
Oh, well, ultimately, there's a lot of work to be done, a lot of resources that are needed. Corporates, this is an opportunity. I don't think Munkano Zadzana ku sport one is no batira. Let's get our corporates spreading across the board. Zimbabweans were general athletes. We can play any sport. We can succeed in tennis, but we need resources to come there. So corporates need to come in. Tennis academies need to bloom. Grassroots initiative needs to be locked down and needs to start. And I'm sure Zimbabwe will be able to do better.
I've been chatting to Ruvimbo Chakoreka, sports analyst. My name is Jason Seremwe.